What's going on, guys? SeeJay here, bringing another video for Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth. Want to do a little bit of a discussion video on some things that I'm kind of doing in the background while we're just sort of sitting here waiting for anything from CG and what the next steps are in the game. So let's go ahead and dive into it. All right, guys. So first off, if you haven't had the chance to watch either Swag or Quantum's video from yesterday, both videos are awesome. Really deep intel onto sort of how the timeline looks and how far-fetched it really is. That December was a lot of information given to us over a short period of time, then a little bit of that break we kind of expected for Christmas, and then led into what we've all sort of experienced over the past, you could call it 4 weeks, you could call it, 6, even 7 weeks if you want, of just kind of pure radio silence. But also Quantum's video is fantastic, really just going into all the potential ideas and sort of what ifs as to what the silence really is. Is it because they're working too hard and they don't want to say anything? That's most likely not the case, because I feel like with the absolute madness going on now in the official discords with just the constant egg shenanigans and whatnot, like somebody at this point would come up and speak out or say something just to kind of stop it a little bit. But I tend to agree with the guys. I really think there's something a little bit more bigger going on in the background that's probably NDA disclosures that they just can't really release the information, and therefore we're just kind of at the whim's end of not knowing what's going on and just slowly and patiently waiting. But I figured I wanted to make a video today. I made a couple of shorts last few days. I haven't really, honestly, the motivation has been a little bit lackluster on content. There's still a lot of ideas I have on things I want to make for this game. Obviously, I want to do a lot of team breakdowns. There's a lot of little things I want to do in this game. There's tons of stuff you can still do from a content perspective for this game to help mid to end game players, and even especially new players, right? The problem is when we don't really know what the projection is of the game itself, it creates a little bit of the barrier of the motivation, right, for me to want to get behind the camera and make more and more videos every single day, not knowing what is really going to happen. And from a personal perspective, I still enjoy the game. I'm still playing it every single day. I'm still logging in, collecting all of my energy refreshes throughout the day. I'm still doing my raids. I'm still trying to get better scores. I'm still doing all of the above that I normally would do, but it's totally understandable that your average player who's not really content driven, creating content for the community, not heavily engaged with other content creators, it's totally understandable that, you're just there for the ride. There's nothing really happening at the end of the ride, and you're like, well, I'm checked out for now, right? And I'm not there yet. I don't really anticipate that I'll ever get there for the game. I'm always going to have my eyes in it and keep trying to make at least some content. When I made the channel, or when I brought it back to life, you could say, back in December, I've obviously picked the absolute worst time to create a channel for this game, because I literally made the channel on Christmas Eve, and we've had zero content since I made that channel, right? The only thing we had was the sneak peek picture of Gimli on his little vacation out on the beach, is the only thing we've had from from the team. And I think like one minor mini patch that went out that corrected some stuff, and I think there was one post from Shrike in the official Discord channels, but otherwise literally crickets, right? So kind of came on board at the absolute worst time. But I do appreciate everybody who has supported the channel. We've seen some significant growth on my channel, over I think 400 new subscribers since I started making content, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of views. I've had a great time making videos. My goal when I made this channel was to create a new video every single day, and technically I've stuck true to that. I haven't missed an upload on my channel, but for me personally, I don't really consider shorts content. A lot of it is just kind of using long form content and converting it into little snippets of 30 seconds to a minute videos on shorts, just for the folks that are interested in shorts and aren't really interested in watching long form. It's just like another avenue to create content in, right? So, but a lot of that doesn't really create a whole lot of work on my side, because I'm not really creating a short, usually making a short specific for shorts. They're generally just long form flipped into short form. So very, very little editing and really effort on my part required, because I'm just reusing content. But I have, I've missed a couple days over the last week or so from a long form content side of things. And it does bother me that I didn't, because I stuck so hard to my mindset in January to continue making content even through the drought. But again, as we've sort of embarked our way over the last, almost 2 months now of minimal conversations with the team and not really knowing what the actual future of the game looks like, it's tough, right? So kind of leading or segueing out of that, again, I've been sticking to the game itself. I'm still playing it every day. I'm still putting my raid runs in. I will say the the feeling that I get from the community within our guild and just talking to some other guys, a lot of people a little bit more on that autopilot mode, where it's not like you're trying to min-max so hard and sneak hours on end into the raid runs. You're kind of like, if I get around or close to what I've done, in previous weeks, it's good enough, right? Into trying to do this for hours every day, because what if next week we get told the game's shutting down, right? Like it's an unfair amount of time to put in. But if you're having fun playing the game, keep playing the game. And that's what I'm doing. I still have fun playing the game. The only lag that's tough pill to swallow is just what is there next, right? I made significant progression on my collection. I've showcased that in a previous video. And I'm excited for the things that I've been able to do with my Rivendell and Haradrim teams. My goblins are almost all 5-star. I could continue working on the goblins, or I can maybe just leave them at 5-star, which is good enough to get Thorin, start working on maybe like Gondor or Dunlin or another team just to kind of test trial some other stuff, right? Like I've got the opportunity to do that because we're not chasing the next marquee, the next shiny legendary. Like we're just here playing the game of what we have available to us. But when you are playing it at a very dumbed down, watered down version, I'm not creating content for it, at least as consistently as I was even just a week or two ago. I mean, you can feel the lack of content in the game, right? Like besides logging in to do my raids, I mean, I'm in and out of this game in 5 minutes, right? Like I'm in, I'm quickly, capturing my claim over here on the right. From that moment on, I grab that. I'm going right into just spending it on, my favorited characters that are already at the top of the board. So there's really no time sink here. It's like, okay, I've already done these guys. The next one here when the timer's up is going to be, just kind of hitting Keely with a quick hit for his 80. Boom, done. All right, I got some guild energy to spend. Go to the play, go to the guild, do chapter 5, done. Okay, my energy spent. I've already done my arenas. I've already done my dailies. Go to the supply store for 2 seconds, maybe buy I'm in and out in 5 minutes. Like that's just not enough to keep you really engaged in the game. So yeah, I mean, of course, the point of the video is really just, stay hopeful, stay optimistic. That's what I'm doing. It's tough, right? Like a lot of people are going to say you're crazy. Like we saw this coming. We saw this with the journey ahead. That was really like a journey behind. There's a lot of people who are going to say stuff like that, and that's totally fair. I enjoy the game. I enjoy the content. I enjoy working with the other content creators in the space. They're all great guys. It's fun to chat with them about different ideas and things that are kind of happening. Would I like to see something from Capital Games? Yeah, I absolutely, of course, right? Like that's what we're here for. We really want to, we enjoy the game. We keep playing it. Like we want to be a part of the community to share, information to everybody else that might not be in the Discord channel or might not be constantly going to the websites, right? Like we want to be able to share that information, whether it's on Reddit or YouTube or whatever it might be, to get that information out, but there's no information to share. And so the only thing to kind of leave, end this video on is this week, there's another hopeful chance for a few reasons. One is this will be the first time, as far as I'm aware, that the marquee event is going to come to a dire end, where we literally have tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, there will be 0 marquees left in the store, which means I assume this is going to stay here and say no data, or literally the marquee could just straight up disappear, which would be a first time ever. So maybe they had this extended Bilbo marquee with the intentions that they didn't really plan on doing anything for a long time, and this was like going to be their only saving grace from like making money outside of the gems, which just seems so far-fetched to me. Other people have said, oh, like they're just trying to wait it out for the refund period. I don't think that's true. Historically, other games that have kind of went, out and about and stopped making for their games and kind of, closing the game down, essentially, they try to milk every cent they can from you. So trying to just outweigh the loss of potential people doing chargebacks versus the amount of money they could get by not announcing that they're closing down, but rather throwing us a bunch of shinies that people will purchase and then shortly after closing down, or offering crazy bundles that people like the Hobbit bundle that like are just gonna buy it even if you're a low or almost free to play player. That's just way to like get that last squeeze out of everybody, right? Like they're just not gonna not do that for months. I mean, it just doesn't seem like their correct play if you're trying to get the last couple of dollars from everybody in the game before you kind of just close it down, right? So I don't think that that's necessarily the case. But the last thing is sort of on Quantum's note on his video. Again, if you guys haven't watched Swag's and or Quantum's video, definitely check their 2 videos out. They're fantastic for information on both timeline and for potential, what is going on. Embracer, who's kind of a part of the Middle Earth Enterprises, which is the licensing and a lot of mumbo jumbo background law stuff that I don't really care about diving into because it's not really relevant to exactly what I'm going to say here. But essentially, Embracer and Capital Games, EA, they all kind of have some sort of communication going on, right? Because they're all working together, sharing the licenses of Lord of the Rings, and therefore they kind of have to be on the same page. And so Embracer has a like a quarterly earnings, I believe, this week. I think it's on the 15th, so it's going to be, or 15th or 16th, so either Wednesday or Thursday. And so on that meeting, there could be potential information shared regarding this game, right? Like they're going through a restructure. There's like a $2 billion deal that didn't really go through as intended or whatever. There's a lot of stuff like that that's going on their side. They could share some information on the home side of things. Don't think they will, because I think maybe we would have potentially heard something or leading up to that. Most likely it's all hush hush still from all parties involved, but that's our last hope, right? Is this week we hear something. If not, whether we don't get anything because the marquee ends tomorrow and we hear nothing from Capital Games themselves, or following up with the Embracer call as our last kind of hope and wish that somebody says something this week. If it doesn't happen, then realistically, when somebody talks could be who knows when, right? Like it could be any time at any point thereafter. So just staying positive, staying optimistic. Like I said, keep playing if you're having fun. If you're not having fun, don't play. You can always come back. It's not like you're really too far behind, because no one's really going to gain a huge edge outside of just progressing their current rosters, because nobody has access to any other characters. So it's not like if you don't play for a month or two and then you come back to the game because there's finally an announcement that there's any characters that have been added, right? So you do you. That's the best I can say. I'm going to try to keep making at least some content on the channel to stay a little bit consistent, but I do have another video I'm going to be making that's going to come out probably after this one, so tomorrow, if you're watching this obviously at the time of me posting it. And I wanted to dive into just some games that are kind of keeping me a little bit busy on the side while we are in this little bit of hiatus, and have some extra time on my hands where I'm not really just only playing Lord of the Rings home, but rather playing some other mobile games, or trying some other mobile games, and also some PC games. If anyone's obviously playing this from an emulated perspective and you're interested in some PC games and you're just not really sure like what's new or what's out there, got a couple fun ones for you. So we'll go ahead and take a peek of a couple of those games, just to kind of maybe spark some interest and keep you busy while, again, we're just sort of in this this waiting game. So catch you guys in the next one. Bye.